In this video, I'm going to show you how to get your old ski boat engine from looking like this to looking like this. And here's the best part. This was done in my cluttered garage without pulling the engine, doing any blasting. This can be done on a budget of about $200. If you aren't subscribed to this channel, let's recap. This 92 Nautique was a piece of junk I bought at the start of spring COVID shutdown. In about 6 weeks, my wife and I transformed it from this mess to showroom quality. If you haven't watched it, click on the link to see the whole transformation in just a 12-minute video. And just so you know, I'm not a mechanic. If you're a handy guy, you probably have most of the tools I use to do all of this. And for those of you that did watch my last video, please know that this summer was awesome. This old boat had just 700 hours on it when I bought it, and we put about 160 more hours on it this summer. The kids were finally introduced to the lifestyle. I even spent some mornings relearning how to ski. And I know everyone today wants to take out a mortgage on a new $140,000 boat, but if you haven't spent time in one of these classic competition ski boats, you're missing out. But then there was this rusty engine with the ugly corroded alternator that I had to look at every time I pulled up the engine cover. Besides running a bit hot, the engine was fine. But if these classic ski boats are like your classic muscle cars, then you can't have an engine that looks like this. And the amount of rust building up everywhere was starting to worry me. First thing I did was start by taking off the exhaust manifolds, because they're really big and they're kind of in the way of everything. And they're the toughest thing to get off. Getting 16 bolts out that have been there for 30 years isn't easy. With some penetrating oil, a breaker bar, an impact wrench, a lot of sweat, I was able to get 15 of the bolts off. Everything you see painted in this video was done using VHT high temperature engine paint. The process is pretty much the same for whatever you're doing. Start with the primer, then pick your color, then finish with a clear gloss. Key is to put it on very slowly and use a lot of coats. If you're thinking that disassembling and reassembling an alternator looks complicated, I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that this is easy, but there are a lot of good videos on YouTube that show you exactly how to do this. That's how I watched it, and that's how I learned. I went with a clean steel finish on the housing of this alternator, and then I used colors that would be matching the engine to tie it all in. The next thing I did was strip the paint off of the valve covers. This is the product I used. I don't necessarily want to bash it, but one of three things was true. I either didn't put it on thick enough, I didn't leave it on long enough, or it's just not a good product, because this ended up being a lot of work and took many attempts to get all of this paint off. But eventually, with enough stripping, enough wire brushing, enough sanding, we got this down to bare metal. Now, speaking of the water pump, whether you're going to do all of this type of work or not, I highly recommend getting into your cooling system if you got an old engine like this. The boat ran a bit hot all summer, especially when it was idling, so I wasn't surprised when I opened the pump up to see an impeller that looked like this. And on top of that, as I got more into the water system, I found big chunks of rubber that had broken off, stuck in small ports, probably restricting water. I also took one look at that thermostat and decided it's well worth $24 to replace it now while the engine's all apart. And by the way, nautiqueparts.com was able to hook me up with everything I needed, including gaskets for these jobs. And here's a tip for you: rather than spending time searching their website, just email support with what you're looking for. They'll get right back to you with a link to the part that you need. Finally, I tackled the rusty engine block. What's great about these boats is that you can easily access just about everything without pulling the engine out. The oil pan was in good shape and the hardest part to get to, so I just left it alone and focused on the block. The last part of the detailing was figuring out what to do with this plastic cover. The 30-year-old stickers were done, so I took them off. The Ultimate Black made the plastic look like new, but I needed something to finish this off. And I know this is technically a PCM motor, but it's built off the old Ford 351 Windsor 5.8 liter V8. So I found a guy online that makes a cool vinyl sticker with 2 pistons making a V, with an 8 in the center and a 5.8 right below that. And then I went on Etsy and I made a sticker that said 351W in yellow. Picked out a nice font. I love how it turned out.
Pretend to be Priscilla.
Just say that looks up.
Oh my gosh!
Stop.
That she does act like that. So good.
I just want you to say it looks good. Well, I like the way it turned out. I love that it matches the colors of the boat. I think that the yellow and black on the valve covers really pop. Here's some before and after pictures for you. Right now we've got our eye on a few different older Nautiques. We're going to flip another one, so if you're not subscribed, you're going to want to click that button because I'm going to go into more detail. I'm going to make several separate videos of each part of the process. And if you enjoyed this video, please click like. Thanks so much.